You grieve like a beggar. You mourn like someone who has been robbed, stripped of treasure, left empty-handed in the cold. You speak of loss as if something precious was torn from your chest. You cry as if the universe conspired against you. You count the departed like a miser counts stolen coins. You catalog the absent like a collector mourns broken artifacts. You measure your worth by who stayed and who left, who chose you and who abandoned you. But what if I told you that you never lost anything? What if every person who walked away from your life was not a theft, but a gift? What if every goodbye was not an ending, but a completion? What if your soul, that eternal witness within you, never loses anyone because it was never meant to possess them? You have been taught to love like a collector, to hold like a miser, to fear departure like death itself. You have been conditioned to believe that love means accumulation, that joy means possession, that security means control. This is the lie that keeps you small. This is the illusion that transforms you from a sovereign being into a desperate beggar, rattling an empty cup at the feet of those who were always meant to pass through your life like seasons, like weather, like the wind that touches everything and belongs to nothing. You were never meant to be a cemetery for relationships. You were never designed to be a museum of what was. You are not a gravedigger of connections, mourning what you call loss, but what the universe calls completion. This is the lie that keeps you small. From childhood, they whispered the poison into your ears. Hold tight to what you love. Fight for what matters. Never let go. Your mother clutched you too tightly, teaching you that love means suffocation. Your father left and returned, conditioning you to believe that affection is something that can be withdrawn, withheld, rationed like bread in winter. They taught you that love means possession, that commitment means imprisonment, that caring means clinging with desperate fingers to the fleeting forms of this world. You learned to build cages around the people you adored. You called these cages relationships. You decorated them with promises, with expectations, with the golden chains of need and dependence. You painted these prisons with the colors of devotion, but they remained prisons nonetheless. In school, they taught you to compete for affection, to earn love through performance, to fear abandonment more than inauthenticity. They showed you that people are resources to be accumulated, connections to be secured, bonds to be fortified against the inevitable entropy of existence. Religion taught you that love requires sacrifice, that true devotion demands self-denial, that the highest virtue is to lose yourself in service to another, to dissolve your boundaries until you become nothing more than an extension of someone else's needs, wants, fears, and when someone left, when they chose freedom over your comfort, growth over your security, their authentic path over your constructed harmony, you felt betrayed, abandoned, diminished. You were taught that their departure diminished you, that their absence created a void in your soul, that love lost is love wasted, time stolen, investment squandered, that every goodbye is a small death, every farewell a wound that may never heal. But look closer at this pain you carry. Is it really about them? Or is it about the story you told yourself? That you needed them to be complete, that without them you are somehow less, that their presence was the source of your joy and their absence the cause of your suffering. This is not love. This is fear wearing love's mask. This is ego masquerading as devotion. This is the frightened child within you, still crying for the mother who could never stay forever, still reaching for the father who was always walking away. You have confused need with love, dependency with connection, possession with caring. You have mistaken the temporary dance of personalities for the eternal communion of souls. Every tear you shed for the departed is a prayer to the God of scarcity. Every moment you spend mourning what was is a moment stolen from what is. Every ounce of energy you invest in grieving the past is energy withheld from creating the future. This is not love. This is attachment. This is not devotion. This is addiction. The ancient Greeks understood something we have forgotten: love as education, relationship as initiation, connection as curriculum. They spoke of the soul's journey through incarnation, not as a punishment, but as a school. Every encounter, every bond, every inevitable separation, assignments from the cosmos itself. Heraclitus knew that you cannot step into the same river twice, because it is not the same river, and you are not the same person. The river flows. The person changes. Only the flow itself remains constant, the eternal movement of existence through form, the divine dance of becoming and unbecoming. Your soul did not come here to collect people like trophies. It came here to learn through them, to discover itself in the mirror of relationship, to evolve through the friction of connection and the wisdom of release. Every person who enters your life carries a teaching. Every relationship is a chapter in the book of your becoming. Every goodbye is graduation from one lesson into the next. The Buddhists call this the doctrine of impermanence, anicca. Everything arises, exists for a time, and passes away. This is not a tragedy. This is the fundamental rhythm of existence. To resist this rhythm is to suffer. To align with it is to dance. But the deepest teaching is this: the soul that you truly are exists before all relationship and after all separation. It is the eternal backdrop against which all dramas of connection and disconnection are played. It is the silent witness that observes all coming and going without being touched by either. The soul knows this. It chose this. It orchestrated these encounters before you were born, before you developed the ego that would later mourn their endings. But your personality, that frightened child within you, cannot see the perfection of this design. It experiences the curriculum as chaos. It feels the lessons as losses. It grieves what was always meant to be temporary. The mystics of every tradition have pointed to this truth. You are not your relationships. You are not your connections. You are not the sum total of who has chosen to stay in your life and who has chosen to leave. You are the space in which all relationships occur. You are the awareness in which all love arises and dissolves. You are the eternal constant in the midst of all temporary variables. This is why the soul never loses anyone, because the soul is everyone. It is the singular consciousness appearing as multiplicity, the one love expressing itself through countless faces, the eternal self playing all the roles in the drama of existence. Now, imagine a different way of loving. Imagine loving like the sun loves the earth, pouring forth light not because the earth belongs to it, but because radiance is the sun's nature. The sun does not diminish when clouds pass between them. It does not rage when night falls. It simply continues to shine, knowing that its light serves purposes beyond its own understanding. The sun does not pursue the planets. It does not chase the comets. It does not weep when asteroids drift beyond its reach. It simply radiates, and whatever comes within its field of influence is warmed, illuminated, transformed. This is love from abundance. Love from overflow. Love that gives not to receive, but because giving is its essence. When you love this way, you become a source rather than a seeker. You become a giver rather than a taker. You become the sun around which others orbit naturally, not because you have captured them, but because your radiance draws them into your field of influence for as long as they need what you have to offer, and when they leave, when their orbit naturally carries them beyond your immediate influence, you do not dim your light. You do not withdraw your radiance. You continue to shine, knowing that every moment they spent in your warmth has permanently altered their trajectory, and that somewhere in the vast cosmos, they are carrying your light into corners of existence you will never see. When you love this way, departures become blessings. When someone leaves your life, they take with them the gifts you offered, your patience, your presence, your particular way of seeing them. These gifts become part of their being forever. They carry fragments of your light into corners of the world you will never see. The shy person who spent time in your presence carries your confidence with them wherever they go. The angry person who experienced your peace now has access to that peace within themselves. The broken person who felt your wholeness now knows that wholeness is possible. You realize that every person who touched your life left something behind. A lesson learned, a capacity awakened, a truth discovered about yourself that could only emerge through relationship with them. Your soul collects these teachings like a river collects tributaries. Each encounter adds to your depth. Each goodbye increases your strength. Each connection expands your capacity to love, and each separation deepens your understanding of freedom. You begin to see that the people who left you never really left at all. They became part of you. Their gifts merged with your being. Their lessons integrated into your wisdom. Their love became fuel for your own capacity to love others, and you discover that you were never diminished by their leaving. You were expanded by their having been there. You are not a smaller person because someone chose to leave. You are a larger soul because someone chose to stay long enough to teach you something essential about existence, about love, about yourself. This is the virtue that arises not from sacrifice but from abundance, not from need but from fullness, not from fear but from freedom. But even this understanding must die. Even this enlightened way of loving must be released when its time comes. Even the identity of one who loves wisely must dissolve into something deeper. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when it must withdraw from all relationship, not in bitterness but in completion, when it must enter the silence that exists before words, before connection, before even the impulse to give or receive. This is the sacred loneliness, the holy emptiness, the fertile void from which all love springs and to which it must return. Like the tree that must shed its leaves in winter to survive, you must periodically shed your attachments, your identities, even your understanding of love itself. You must enter the darkness that precedes every dawn, the silence that precedes every song, the emptiness that precedes every fullness. In this silence, you discover what was always true. You are complete. You always were. The people in your life were not filling empty spaces. They were reflecting back to you the fullness that was already there. In this solitude, you understand that love is not what you do, but what you are. Not what you give or receive, but the very fabric of your being. Not a relationship between two separate entities, but the recognition that separation itself is the illusion. The soul that has learned through relationship must also learn through separation, must discover its own eternal nature beyond all connection and disconnection, must find the source of love that flows before any object exists to receive it. This is not depression. This is not withdrawal from life. This is the deepest engagement with existence, the willingness to let even love itself be transformed by silence. This is the monastery of the heart, where you go not to escape the world, but to find the source from which all worlds emerge. This is the desert where prophets are born, the mountain where revelations occur, the silence where the deepest truths whisper themselves into existence. In this spiritual winter, in this necessary darkness, something new is being born. The old self that loved from need is dying. The new self that loves from essence is emerging. You discover that even the most beautiful relationships were just training for this ultimate relationship, with the silence that you are, the consciousness that observes all coming and going, the love that exists whether anyone is there to receive it or not. Like the seed that must break apart to become the flower, you allow your old ways of loving to die. Like the caterpillar that dissolves in the cocoon, you release everything you thought you knew about connection, relationship, love itself. And in this dissolution, this conscious dying while still alive, you discover what the mystics have always known. You are what remains when everything else falls away. You are the eternal witness, the unchanging awareness, the love that loves itself through all the temporary forms of existence. The soul that has traveled this far knows a secret that transforms everything. Everyone who left was preparing you for everyone who remains. Everyone who remains is preparing you for the one who is coming, and the one who is coming is preparing you for the ultimate relationship with your own eternal nature. Every goodbye was really hello to a deeper part of yourself. Every loss was really a gain in wisdom, in strength, in capacity to love without clinging. Every person who walked away took nothing from you but gave you everything, the gift of discovering that you are already whole. Write these words if you understand. I thank everyone who taught me by leaving. Feel the truth of this in your bones. Feel how it transforms your past from tragedy into education, your pain into wisdom, your losses into gains. Feel how every relationship that ended was really a relationship that completed its purpose, fulfilled its mission, delivered its gifts. You are not a victim of relationships. You are a student in the University of the Heart. You are not broken by goodbyes. You are made whole by them. You are not diminished by departures. You are expanded by arrivals. Every person who enters your life is a messenger from the universe, carrying exactly what you need to learn at exactly the moment you are ready to receive it. Every person who leaves your life is a teacher whose curriculum is complete, whose gifts have been delivered, whose purpose has been fulfilled. The soul doesn't lose people because the soul is what connects all people. It is the ocean in which all waves rise and fall. It is the silence in which all words are spoken. It is the love that remains when all lovers have gone. You thought you were learning about other people through relationship, but you were really learning about yourself. You thought you were giving love to others, but you were really discovering the love that you are. Continue this journey. Read more. Listen deeper. Trust the curriculum of your life. Trust the wisdom of your soul. Trust that everyone who has ever entered your life was exactly who you needed them to be, for exactly as long as you needed them to be it. You came here to learn love. Every person is your teacher. Every goodbye is your graduation. Every hello is your enrollment in the next level of the curriculum. The soul that you are has never lost anyone, because the soul that you are is everyone. You are the eternal student and the eternal teacher, the eternal lover and the eternal beloved, the eternal question and the eternal answer. Welcome to your real education. Welcome to the University of the Heart. Welcome to the love that you have always been, disguised as someone learning how to love.